Husband advised me to get therapy, but it's making me question my marriage. My F27 relationship with my husband, M26, of 3 years has always had its ups and downs. I'm an emotional person and he is cold and logical. Add into the mix that we both grew up in dysfunctional families and don't know a single other couple whose relationship we admire, and it's been tough at times. Our arguments affect me a lot. If he gets upset about something, even if it's fairly minor, I can't get past it. It can ruin my whole day and I end up crying and feeling depressed. He suggested I get therapy to deal with my disproportionate reactions, because he feels like that's the biggest threat to our relationship. I don't generally get these intense negative feelings anywhere else in my life, but he says that I can't use that to blame him because this isn't just any relationship, it's a marriage, and as such exposes me to pressures that other relationships wouldn't. I come from a culture where girls live with their parents until they marry, and I didn't really have any serious relationships before my now husband, who I've been with for 7 years now. I had my first appointment yesterday, and the more I talked, the more I found myself focusing in on how unhappy I am in my marriage, when I had always prescribed my issues to growing up with my parents' bad marriage. I still partly believe that it is my fault, it's my perception of him, but I realized that I censor myself around my husband so I don't irritate him and that I don't really relax around him. My brother has been staying with us and it's only served to further highlight how uncomfortable I feel with my husband. To be fair, my brother is literally my best friend. I can be 100% myself with him and he never has a go at me unless he thinks I'm going something genuinely stupid or dangerous. But I can't be that way with my husband. For example, the other day I made him coffee to take to work, but I forgot he didn't want milk in it. He got annoyed and left the coffee, but the interaction left me feeling uneasy. I messaged him saying that he overreacted, he didn't actually do anything, was just visibly irritated by my apparent incompetence, but it's a recurring theme that he doesn't appreciate the intent behind things I do for him, only how they turn out. Another example is I took our shared car. I don't currently work and my husband pays for everything, to pick up some fast food with my brother. We don't normally eat in the car, but my brother didn't know that and pulled out a sandwich on the way home. I had some as well, not realizing that some onions had fallen out. We got home, carried in the fast food bags, thought no more of it. When I got in the car later with my husband, he got upset that I got the car messy. I apologized, said I hadn't realized and told him I'd clean it. He said that wasn't good enough and I'd lost the privilege of using the car for any recreational purposes. This upset me because I'm his wife, not a child to be disciplined by taking away privileges. I told him this but he didn't agree, just told me there had to be consequences for my actions, even after I went out this morning and cleaned the car. I'm really struggling to believe that I'm genuinely in the wrong here. Our relationship is deteriorating and I can recognize that same recurring circle of resentment, punishment and withdrawal that my parents are trapped in. I don't feel like I can really talk to my husband because he's dismissive and treats me like I'm just after attention and that I should be making amends to make him want to stay with me. He says I only see things from my own selfish perspective and I'm genuinely trying to understand him too, but I feel like I'm so wrapped up in my own struggling that I can't. It seems to me that you live in a culture or society where men are running the show, and women are expected to shut up and behave. I'm betting a lot of your reactions aren't excessive, but your husband doesn't want to deal with his wife's opinions. And now he's forbidding you to drive the car when you want. Look, I don't know how to solve this. If this is how everyone lives where you are, you need to leave or learn to deal with it. On the other hand, if your husband is old school or traditional, or some other catchphrase for misogynistic fucking asshole, then you need to find a better human being to be married to. I don't think your behavior is the problem. I think he's conditioning you to be a subservient woman and wife. Taking away your privileges. 1. Who gave him the authority of doing that? 2. If my husband dared to take away my car privileges, he could forget the privilege of food until I had the car back. It's not his car anymore. Both of your car. That's what signing a marriage contract does. Him, you dare eat in my car. No more car privileges for you. Me, here, hold all of my fucks while I call an Uber and pack my bags. Edit. Thank you for the awards, kind friends. I hope your Saturday has been perfect. I'm sorry, but for whatever reason your husband clearly doesn't view you as his equal. There's no reason for anyone to limit their partner's access to transportation even if they pay for everything. That's not healthy. Good for you for starting therapy, and hopefully it will help you start to figure out what you really want out of all this. Our relationship is deteriorating. It doesn't sound like your relationship is deteriorating, but rather like you are recognizing the abusive nature of your relationship, especially how your husband treats you. Sounds like the therapy is working. It is making you realize you are trapped in an unhappy marriage with a man who psychologically abuses and bullies you. I hope it will also make you realize that you are not in the wrong. You are not doing anything wrong. Your husband is making you believe you are doing things wrong, because he is abusive and a bully. He makes you feel bad the moment you don't do what he wants, exactly the way he wants it. Well, guess what? He's not your master and you're not his slave. You're supposed to be equal. I hope it makes you realize that he is the bad guy. He is the problem here. I hope you come to realize that if you divorce you will be less anxious and much happier. Keep going to the therapy. I think it's going to save your sanity and save your life. My 18F mom has been referring to my stepdad as my dad, and it's making me uncomfortable. When I was 2, my parents had a very nasty divorce. It was bad for everyone involved. My dad got primary custody, and the last time I lived with my mom was when I was 6. My parents hate each other, which I've had to deal with my whole life. After living with my dad my whole life, a couple weeks ago, I decided to move in with my mom and stepdad. It's been an adjustment, but we're all trying to make it work. One thing I've noticed, however, is that my mom has been talking about how much my stepdad likes being my dad/being a dad again. My stepbrother moved out 4 years ago, and I really don't like it. He's not my dad. I have a dad who I love, who's still alive and in my life. How do I bring it up with her? Should I bring it up? Do I involve my stepdad? I would say if it is making you uncomfortable, then you should definitely talk to her about this, probably without involving your stepdad first. Explain to her that while you value your relationship with him, he is not your father, you already have a dad. Her referring to him in that way makes you deeply uncomfortable, and you expect her to stop that nonsense. If she argues with you, explain to her that it is disrespectful to both you and him for her to put you two in that position, and if she continues, you will no longer accept it. Let her know that if she continues, you will reject it and will also stop referring to her as mom, since you are apparently now allowed to just call people whatever you decide to call them, independent of their actual relationships and how they feel about it. Just explain that he's not your father, he's your mother's partner. You two don't have a parent/child relationship. Take it from me when I say when you are living under someone's roof you'd best have an exit plan when you stand your ground. Be prepared to move out if they do not take it well. The thing is, I don't. I'm a 12-hour drive away from my hometown and I don't know anyone here. I can't drive, and I don't really have any money. I suggest you ask her, in a non-confrontational way, and in a private setting, why she keeps referring to him as your dad. And you can say, well, I understand how you feel, but it's making me a bit uncomfortable. Maybe you could refer to him as my stepdad instead. It might be less confrontational than just outright saying you're uncomfortable. And hopefully the fact that you listened to her thoughts/feelings will help her take yours seriously. I wouldn't involve your stepdad unless you need to. However, if your mom doesn't listen to you, then maybe a bit later have a sit-down conversation with your stepdad and tell him what's happening, that you really appreciate everything he is doing for you, but it's making you feel weird that your mom is referring to him as your dad. Hopefully he understands and then you can ask him whether he would talk to her about it. Thank you. That's probably what I'll do the next time she does it. Info: why did you decide to move in with your mother in the first place? Me and my dad's rental agreement ended in September and we had no place to live by ourselves, plus we had a bad fight where my dad said he thought I was unhappy with him and it might be better for me to live with my mom. My 33M girlfriend, 30F, accidentally choked me too hard and made me pass out while we were having sex. Now she is scared to do anything and isn't the same in bed. What should I do? My girlfriend is amazing. We have great chemistry. She's the best in the bedroom and really knows that I likes. She definitely knows how to have a great time. We are both pretty freaky and like to mix it up all of the time. Honestly, we've probably done about anything that you could name. Something that we are very big on is BDSM play. We can get pretty rough and wild. We do things like slapping, spanking, grabbing, choking, and more. We can both get pretty rough with one another. Sometimes she's in charge and other times I'm in charge. Well, this particular time she was in charge. I was the one getting punished. She had got on top of me and she was choking me and riding at the same time. I had a mask on so she couldn't say my face like she normally does. Normally my face is a good indication of when she needs to stop and let go. This time she couldn't see it. She was choking me hard and I suddenly passed out. It wasn't out long, but when I woke up my girlfriend was sobbing. She was apologizing like crazy and was hugging me. I told her it's okay, that it's part of the risk. She kept apologizing and wouldn't let go. I told her that I was good to keep going. She said no and that I needed to rest. I really wanted to finish, but I finally gave in. The next day I tried to initiate things in bed. She said she wasn't feeling well and that she wanted to sleep. The next day I tried again and she agreed. When we started I noticed that she was being super gentle. Everything was way different than before. I stopped her and asked her what was wrong. She started crying again and told me that she was worried about hurting me. She said she must not have realized her own strength. She said that she doesn't think she'll feel comfortable being rough with me anymore. I tried to assure her again that everything was okay. She didn't seem to believe me. Our sex is definitely not the same as it was before the incident. It in no way bothered me, but it really seemed to bother her. I'd like our sex life to go back to how it used to be. Neither one of us are enjoying it as much since. She also hasn't been the same around me in our normal life. She doesn't joke as much and is just more on edge. Is there anything that I can do to get her to feel comfortable doing stuff again? What should I do to help our relationship? Too long didn't read. My girlfriend has been different ever since she choked me out while we were having sex. What should I do? Well, she thought she killed you, so it might take a while. But seriously, don't minimize her fear. I'd suggest taking this over to some advice. Seconded. She ended the scene after she felt traumatized that she killed Op. She is dealing with the aftermath of that trauma and needs sufficient aftercare. It will take time, and Op needs to respect her boundary on this. Dude, she thought she killed you. You need to be slow, gentle, and understanding. She is traumatized in a serious way. I hate to be the spoil sport here, but neither of you seem knowledgeable enough about the subject to be doing any type of breath play. He could have easily killed you. Looking at your face isn't a safe stopping mechanism. There should be non-verbal cues in place, and even then it's very dangerous. The fact she didn't immediately call 911 when you were unconscious and unresponsive, but instead held you sobbing is worrisome too. I guess she also doesn't know CPR if she needed to administer it. Look, this is a quickened way for one of you to die. Greed. This stuck out to me. I told her it's okay, that it's part of the risk. By stuck out I mean glaring red flag. Serious lack of education here.